Welcome to Bible for Modern Minds podcast.
So today we're doing things a little bit differently. We're not looking at a whole stack of sources. We're really immersing ourselves in one single, incredibly powerful narrative.
That's right. We're focusing on the personal testimony of the woman who goes by Eliza now. It details her life, her early life as Amina in the Maldives, and, well, the incredible cost of choosing a different path.
And what's so gripping about this is the setting. The Maldives. I mean, you hear that name and you immediately picture it, right?
Oh, absolutely. The overwater bungalows, the crystal clear water. Paradise.
Exactly, paradise. But for Amina, growing up in the capital, Malay, this place was anything but. She calls it a gilded cage. All that beauty on the outside was just hiding this crushing silence and fear on the inside.
And to really get that, you have to understand her background. She came from a very respected family. Her father, Harun Hassan, was a fisherman, but also a man with real religious influence.
A figure in the community.
A huge figure. And her mother was what the source calls the epitome of obedience. She taught Amina that a woman's place was to be invisible.
The phrase she used was a pearl hidden at the bottom of the sea.
Exactly. So from day one, her identity was completely defined for her by these strict, unshakable rules.
Let's talk about those rules because they really set the whole tone. The 5 daily prayers, for instance. She says they felt totally mechanical.
Just gestures, right? Not a real connection.
Yeah, and she talks about the dawn prayer, Fajr, which is, before sunrise. Instead of finding any kind of peace, she said it felt like a stifled scream.
So much discipline, but zero peace.
And it's so important to connect that inner feeling, that frustration, to the actual legal reality of the country.
Yes, this is maybe the most crucial point for anyone listening outside the Maldives. Being Muslim, there isn't just the cultural norm. It's the only legal possibility. It's in the Constitution.
So leaving the faith, apostasy, isn't just a personal choice.
No, it's treated like treason. It's a crime against the state. And that means something like a Bible. It's basically contraband.
And that atmosphere was just magnified at home. She felt like she was constantly being watched.
Her mother would read her notebooks, control who she talked to. Any kind of curiosity about the outside world was just shut down. Immediately.
So it's this complete pressure cooker. And of course, that kind of pressure just creates this intense need for an escape.
Which for her was the ocean. The only place she felt any sense of freedom was when she was out on the water, working as a dive guide.
And that desperation, that search for something real, it all came to a head when she was 17. After a ceremony at the Grand Mosque in Malay, she just felt this terrifying emptiness.
So that night, she did something incredibly risky. She just whispered a prayer into the dark. Not one of the formal ones, but her own.
Just, if there is a God who sees me, who loves me, show me who you are. A simple cry for help.
And that question, that little crack of doubt in her perfect world, that's where everything starts to change.
The answer arrives, about 3 months later?
Yeah, March 2019. It came in the form of a person, Matteo, an Italian dive instructor she met through her work.
And the difference with him wasn't just his personality, it was theological. He used the word God, not Allah, and the way he said it was different.
It was tender, right, not a command. He'd look at the coral reefs and say creation was too perfect to have happened by chance. He saw a loving artist, not just a strict lawmaker.
That's a huge shift. And he introduced this idea of God as a father who sent his son, Jesus, not to demand things, but to rescue us.
I mean, think about it. Her entire life was built on meeting demands. The idea of a God who reaches down to meet her need must have been world-altering.
It seems like the part that hit her the hardest, though, was about her identity as a woman.
Oh, absolutely.
Her whole world is about being silent, praying behind the men, being unseen.
And Matteo knew that. He intentionally gave her these specific examples from the Christian faith that just shattered that. He told her how, for Jesus, there's no difference between man and woman, slave or free.
And he mentioned Jesus revealing himself first to the Samaritan woman at the well.
An outcast, yeah.
Yeah.
And then appearing resurrected first to Mary Magdalene. For Amina, this girl taught to be a hidden pearl, the idea that God would reveal the most important truths first to women.
It broke her.
Completely. The source says she just sat on the boat and wept uncontrollably. Like the walls of that gilded cage just came crashing down all at once.
And that's when the real risk begins.
Right.
He lends her a Bible, a tiny palm-sized one.
Wrapped in plastic, hidden in his diving bag, an actual crime. But when she reads it, the first verse that really hits her isn't a rule. It's an invitation.
Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest.
And for the first time, faith didn't feel like a heavy religion. It felt like freedom.
A freedom that she knew could cost her everything.
Imprisonment, exile, even death. She knew the stakes. But once you've seen something like that, you can't really unsee it.
And the way it all came out was just so tragically normal. It wasn't some big debate.
No, it was a phone notification.
She left her phone charging, and her mother, who was used to monitoring everything, just saw a message pop up on the screen.
A message from Mateo. It had the verse, John 3.1 scene, and then the phrase that condemned her.
Sister in Christ.
And that was it. That's all it took.
The confrontation sounds just awful. She gets out of the shower, and her mother isn't just angry, she's physically trembling.
A source says her face went from shock to rage to just pure contempt. And when Amina confirmed it, the mother screamed, "You betrayed us."
Followed by a flap. But Amina said the physical pain was nothing.
No, it was the coldness in her mother's eyes. That's what she remembers. And then the final words.
You are no longer my daughter. You are an infidel.
Then the father comes in. And he's devastated, but he has to explain the reality of the law. It wasn't just about Amina anymore.
Right. Harboring an apostate is a crime for the whole family.
Imprisonment, exile. Their entire life was on the line because of her choice.
And in that moment, her mother, the woman who cared for her through every fever, every scraped knee,
She gets on the phone, making calls to religious authorities for guidance.
at the end of the day, she's the one who handed her own daughter over to them.
This system, the fear, it was just stronger than that maternal bond. The cost was immediate.
The arrest came before dawn. Around 5 a.m., 2 officers and a cleric.
Imam Rashid, yeah. They took her straight to the police station in Malay, a 6-hour interrogation.
And this wasn't just asking questions. It was a psychological attack.
Totally. They'd switch tactics. One minute they're threatening her with execution. The next they're acting all concerned, saying she's been brainwashed.
But she just quietly held her ground. Her first real test.
After a few days, they moved her, put her on a boat, and took her to this isolated atoll, a dirty government secret, far away from any tourists.
A re-education camp, basically.
That's exactly what it was. The cell was small, food was scarce, but the real torture was the daily re-education sessions with the clerics.
Trying to break her faith.
Day after day, telling her it was all a lie, a delusion, that Jesus' resurrection was a myth. It was an attempt to just eradicate her new identity.
But her resistance was so powerful because it was so quiet.
It was. She just started this simple routine. She would pray silently by her window, looking out at the sea.
Using the ocean, her one place of freedom, to remind her of what she believed in.
She clung to that one verse she'd underlined. "In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world."
And that inner peace she had, in a place designed for despair, it actually started to have an effect.
It did. On one of the guards, an older woman named Fatima, she started to notice Amina's calm.
And one night she whispers to her, right? Something like, why don't you just take it back? Just say the words and this can all be over.
And Amina's reply is just. It's so powerful. She says, "For me, this faith is not foreign. Jesus is my family now. He is my home."
Wow. In that moment, the prisoner had more freedom than the jailer.
That little exchange, that's what set the rescue in motion. Months later, Mateo's friend, a Norwegian missionary named David, he orchestrates the escape.
And they do it under the cover of a massive storm.
Total chaos. The wind is roaring, and the key, the person who makes it happen, is Fatima.
The guard.
The guard. She risks everything. And as she's leading Amina out, she tells her why. She says, "I've seen a peace in you I've never known. Maybe this Jesus of yours is real."
Unbelievable. The captive ends up freeing the captor.
The escape itself was terrifying. Hopping from a small boat to a bigger ship in these massive waves, Amina just kept praying, thinking about the story of Jesus calming the Sea of Galilee.
And Mateo was waiting for her on that ship.
He was. They made it to Colombo in Sri Lanka, a totally different world, a place where her faith wasn't a crime.
And to mark that new beginning, that new life, she takes a new name.
Eliza. She's taken in by a local family and almost immediately starts working with an organization that helps other persecuted refugees.
And the story doesn't even end there. The ripple effect continues.
It does. 6 months later, Eliza gets a phone call. It's Fatima.
No way.
After Eliza escaped, Fatima found a Bible for herself. She converted. And then she, too, had to flee the Maldives.
So she joined Eliza in Sri Lanka.
She did. The two of them, once prisoner and guard, they became what the source calls a chosen family, working together to help others.
It just makes you reflect on what something costs. I mean, she lost everything she was born with. Her family, her country, her name.
Everything. But when you read her account, she says she doesn't regret a single thing. She found a love and a freedom that was, in her words, infinitely greater.
And she realized that true freedom isn't about, being able to do whatever you want. It's about being who you were created to be.
And that's the work she continues to do, to be a light in the darkness, as she says, and she never stops praying for the Maldives. And, the sources show this immense cost for Eliza, but they also highlight Fatima's conversion, the very person meant to enforce the rules. So it leaves you with this thought. What does it tell us about the power of personal peace, of quiet resistance, when the person in the cage ends up freeing the one who's guarding her? What silent testimonies might you be projecting in your own sphere of influence?